I saw that this was not some person, but some red-eyed creature. What appeared to be a coat was actually wings which spread out as it turned to look at me.
It resembled a flying man between 6 and 7 feet tall, with the wings of an angel covering a span of 10 feet. Gray and white with penetrating red eyes about 6 inches apart.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Look Behind You, the podcast where we talk about the strange, the unusual, and everything in between. I am Sir Boom, your host, and with me are my co-hosts, Wolf.
Hello.
And my other co-host, Ramen Cat.
Evening.
And tonight we are talking about a very well-known monster, one of the biggest well-known monsters of North America, and it is called the Mothman.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, yeah. How you guys doing so far?
Good. Short week, long week.
Long recording session.
Long recording session.
Very long recording session.
Yeah. But this may or may not be the first or third or fifth time that we're recording this. We're not quite sure ourselves.
I've lost track.
This should be the third attempt.
Is it? Really?
Yes.
Huh.
I don't think anyone cares about that, though. They're here to hear about the Mothman.
They are
Yes.
here about the Mothman.
And to need to know how big of a fly swatter they need.
Like I said before,
I would just get like a
12 foot.
full-on like electrical one.
Just...
Yeah.
No, we're going about this the wrong way. It's not fly swatter. It's one of those electrical lamps.
Yeah, how big of one of those do you need?
Oh, yeah.
The blue lamps. Just put it right on top of a water tower.
You know, I just thought of this. There is a SpongeBob episode where just SpongeBob is terrified of the dark, so he puts a bunch of nightlights all through his house.
Yeah.
And Mothman just shows up and steals his house.
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. That was fun.
The Mothman-like creatures show up in so many different like cartoons and shows.
I think this was supposed to be like a homage to like a Batman villain, but still it was the Mothman that just showed up and just took the house.
So yeah, for the people that don't know what the Mothman is one of several legendary creatures of West Virginia lore. Along with famous creatures such as the Bat Boy, the Flatwood Monster, and the local monster legends of the Point Pleasant area, and is said to often have been spotted in or near old ammunition plant known as the TNT plant.
They make TNT.
Well, they also test a lot of explosions over there.
I think that's why it's called the TNT plant.
Yep. It was an old World War II munitions plant, I believe.
Yep.
Do you think we'll ever talk about the Bat Boy or Flatwoods monsters?
Flatwoods Monster, definitely. That will be probably one of our alien topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
sure.
is an alien, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Bat Boy I want to look into just because I always was under the impression that it was a tabloid thing.
I thought it was just a variation of the Mothman.
I thought it was
No.
from a comic book.
No, it was famous as far as I knew for like a tabloid. I can't think of the name of it, but it was like one of those conspiracy theory papers.
Yep.
But I guess apparently it had some urban legends. But
Oh,
we're not
cool.
talking about Bat Boy this time.
Nope.
He can get his own spotlight.
The Mothman is said to appear as a tall winged humanoid creature with large glowing red eyes,
Big
large
eyes.
wings, and often associated with a tragic disaster in December 15th, 1967, where the Silverbridge collapsed and resulted in the death of 46 individuals.
Yeah, that is one thing that is interesting about this, because with all the topics we've covered, usually it's like a specific creature to something, but
Yeah.
Mothman just consistently is thought of as a...
Bringer of ill omens.
Yeah.
He is the omen of coming disasters, many people have called him.
Yep.
He has been cited from everything, like we just stated. There was the Silverbridge collapse in West Virginia, as well as people have cited him in Mexico, and right before the Spanish flu started. People have cited him in the 9/11 attack.
Yeah, some
People said that they saw him in like the smoke and debris of the collapsing building.
Okay.
Which is interesting because that was as the disaster was happening,
Yeah.
not right before the disaster. Now, some people, I have heard this from other sources, have said that they've seen him in the reflection of the building before the planes hit. like
Oh,
a day
really?
or two before. Some people even said they saw him flying above the Twin Towers.
I think I've heard a couple spots where that's been said, yeah.
Yep.
Now I've heard too and read a few things where just recently in like the last, I guess, decade, it was also reported to have been seen around Chicago
Yep.
by several individuals with no connections to each other.
Yeah, and the one show that I watched, they were talking to a cameraman that spotted it on a bridge, supposedly.
Yep. And I had seen where a postal driver had spotted him near a airport in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's the Lake Michigan Airport or something like that.
Oh, here. Oh,
It down in Chicago.
Lake Michigan.
Yeah, because Chicago's like on the tail end of
Living
there,
in
so-
Michigan leads me to think anytime someone says Lake Michigan, it's on the Michigan side.
The characteristics of the Mothman have been anywhere from 6 feet, 10 feet to 10 feet plus tall wingspans. It has been compared to like a big owl, a pterosaur, or a bat, as well as the eye colors have changed from anywhere from red eyes, green eyes, yellow eyes, orange eyes, and have all had variations of that different sightings. As well as it is reported to have fur, leather-like skin, bat wings, and no neck.
Well, if it's a moth type creature, it wouldn't really have a long neck.
Yeah, no, because moths already don't really have a neck.
Yeah. I didn't see anything about like the different colored eyes. It's always been red.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's all I had seen too.
Which actually leads like a lot of people to think that it's a type of owl. Because owls' eyes, the way they're built, they like really are reflective.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, so the biggest sighting that the Mothman is reported for, and the whole reason like it is the biggest known cryptid of West Virginia, is the Silver Ridge or Silver Lake? I forget the name exactly.
Probably
Point Pleasant?
Silver Lake.
The Silver Bridge, just the Silver Bridge. The Silver Bridge collapsed in 1967. Let me find the exact article for that. Actually, no. Ramen Cat, you had the article for that.
Yep. Give me a second to pull it up.
But basically, I can go over what happened that day. It happened earlier on that day on the commute to work, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was like early morning, like when people
there
are heading
was
to work.
heavy congestion on the bridge when all of a sudden people on the bridge started reporting hearing large cracking sounds.
I believe one of the joint bolts, the weld broke, if I remember right.
Yes.
I think you have the website up now.
There was a building defect where a support beam or support bolt snapped.
Yeah, under
and
stress.
it made the bridge collapse and it killed up to 47 people.
Yep. Actually, I do have the document here if you want me to.
Go ahead and say some of the details.
Okay. So Silverbridge Incident was on December 15th of 1967. And during that, it's actually regarded as one of West Virginia's more darker days in history.
Yeah, there's not a lot that happens in West Virginia, so...
It is also one of several little incidents that happen throughout like West Virginia. I don't have a list of those, but with like the reports and stuff.
It was part of a string of mishaps.
This document is from wvpublic.org, so I just read it off real quick. December 15th, 1967 was one of the darkest days in West Virginia history. Sadly, it was the first of many tragic days that West Virginia would suffer. The Silver Bridge, which connected Point Pleasant to Gallipolis, Ohio, had opened to traffic in 1928. It was the first bridge in the nation to use innovative I-bar link suspension system rather than the traditional wire cable suspension, which like here in Michigan we have the Mackinac Bridge. I believe that is wire suspension because it's got those great big cables, and same for Golden Gate Bridge.
Bridges of that size, as far as I know, that's the only way you can build them.
Yeah,
because they have to sway.
Yeah, it's for the sway also. It's technically cheaper doing a large cable than like big, long, full metal supports.
Yeah. It was rush hour and the bridge was packed with cars. 31 vehicles plunged into the icy waters of the Ohio River. 21 people survived, but 46 died in the disaster.
Yeah.
The Silverbridge tragedy led to national changes in how bridges were inspected.
Well, that's good.
It was
So it was basically just a major engineering failure. But with that, like that was just the more
what happened.
generalized thing of it, because before that, I believe by a couple days,
It was up to a week before.
was it a
The
couple
week-
weeks?
the weeks
People
leading up to.
had reported sightings of the Mothman flying around the bridge, as well as one person reported the Mothman actually standing on the bridge.
Yeah, like up on one of the
Upwards to the
pinnacles.
point where, or up to the point where some people reported that the Mothman stood right on the exact position where the bridge collapsed at.
That's the second
Really?
theory of like what the Mothman is that the Mothman actually caused, like he actually
Yes.
tampered with the bridge and
Did it cause it, or could it be with his persistence? It was there as more of like a warning.
yeah, there's like three. Either it's just he's an ill omen of a disaster going to happen. He's trying to prevent a disaster from happening, or he caused the disaster
Right.
with like the bridge. This is all like to the bridge. I'm not talking about like the other events.
Right. One more notable thing about that is, along with the sightings of the Mothman, there were a string of other really weird sightings and events. Excuse me.
The ones by the TNT plant.
No, just in general around the Point Pleasant area and other places around where Mothman has been seen. There have been supposed UFO sightings, as well as the I don't think we've talked much about it, but there's a mysterious group of people that are called the Men in Black,
Yep.
who are just these mysterious figures that show up, are very obscure about everything. Like, they ask questions that don't really make much sense,
Yeah.
or they just don't ask any questions at all. They just show up and are creepy.
We should do a episode about them sometime.
Yeah, eventually I'd like to. But then they just disappear, and they seem to, as information travels more freely, and it could just be the thing that people do. You know how things like this, topics like this, are iffy on certain information.
Right.
But there always seems to be now like connections with them, like showing up somewheres.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, for all we know, it's like it could be a total hoax in that fact, or it could be maybe people that investigate this stuff.
Yeah, that's basically what I think it is it's just like a government branch that's
In charge of gathering
like,
information.
hey, go look up that encounter of like a moth creature there. Just see what's happening on. Keep tabs on it. We want to know if there's a new type of creature out there.
Yeah. I mean, that could be. That'd be awesome. Actually, I want that job.
It sounds like an awesome job.
Sounds like the movie, not movie, the comic like Hellboy,
Yeah, kind of.
where you're like a secret agent and you're like, oh yeah, the Mothman's over in West Virginia. Can you guys go clean up his mess or like, just, I don't know, hit him with the forget me ray or something.
Get me right. Yeah, to me, that's what I think probably most likely the Men in Black are.
Yeah.
But just a lot of weird stuff like that. I believe somewhere's in there too, like the Mothman was reported being seen before the Flatwoods Monster incident,
Yes.
which would be really weird.
Yeah,
He
that would.
just like drops off the Flatwoods Monster. Here you go, little buddy.
Hey, over there's my territory. You stay over here. I claim that spot.
The most recent sighting I have found is in Chicago. And the most recent sighting is of 2019.
That's fairly recent.
It is very recent. Or sorry, not 19, 17, 2017.
It's a little further back.
Or no, 19. I was wrong.
Sorry for if
There was a
anyone
typo here.
Time and his enigma.
It's an enigma to me. The anonymous person that kind of wrote this he said that he thought it may have been Bigfoot initially, but then noticed that it had a large set of membrane wings attached to the back, extending over the top of its head. He described the shape of the wings as that of a gargoyle. The body was 8 to 9 feet in height and covered in dark fur. The arms and legs were well defined. And this was around the Chicago area.
There were, I believe, I don't remember if anyone remembers this show. It's still on the radio show Ground Zero, as well as
It is still on, but I think
different stations, probably from us.
Yeah, as well as unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you see this side of it, he went more towards like political conspiracy theories, not so much just monsters anymore and aliens, but that's what I've heard.
I don't remember at the time. This was about 2 years ago, so probably roughly around the same time. It was either Ground Zero or Coast to Coast.
You were telling me it was coast to coast the other day.
I remember like driving home one night from like one of our D&D nights and hearing like people were calling in reports of stuff like that around Chicago, but a lot of people compared it more to, they thought it was something like the Jersey Devil.
Yeah,
like
right.
They reported like this devil-looking thing being seen, and it was like there was like 3 or 4 calls that came in.
Right. Yeah, and there's been just random sightings all over the place. People have said that they've seen. I've heard people say that they've seen the Mothman right before they like crashed. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the black dog in a way.
Yeah, I was about to say he's intruding on someone else's territory.
As well as interesting fact about the Mothman is a lot of people say that they saw him during the Chernobyl disaster.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. This article I found, it is by the Portalist, and they have a little snippet here I found really interesting when I was reading it. They said on April 26, 1986, in the Soviet Union, the world's worst nuclear disaster occurred when an explosion took place during a routine system test of Reactor 4 at the Chernobyl nuclear plant. The nearby town of Pripyat served as a base for the first responders, but was later evacuated due to the presence of harmful radiation. Mm-hmm. In the decades following the disaster, rumors have flown on cryptozoologist inclined corners of the internet that Chernobyl workers and residents of Pripyat saw something very eerie in the days prior to the explosion.
With like the Chernobyl stuff, a lot of times they were saying it looked more like a black bird.
Yes.
They didn't really use the word moth.
And so basically, a lot of the workers and even some of the town residents said that they saw the Mothman flying above the reactor, like above the stacks.
I was also hearing like it kind of antagonized some of the workers, just very buggy.
Unfortunately, this all came from the fictional account from the 2002 Mothman Prophecy movies, the Chernobyl story of the Glavston Hurricane Mothman tie-in, and other examples given in the 2002 movie were pure fiction. And basically, this sums up to be movie fiction that was added into real life lore.
So the movie trying to make it
not the movie, but article writers right before the movie came out started writing facts from the movies as if they were like actual lore.
Okay.
So,
instead of,
in a sense, expanding the lore.
Yes.
Expanding the mythology.
The movie.
But in all actuality, they're just taking bits from the movie and adding it to it, which is where you get the Mothman Chernobyl disaster.
Right. I mean, all right, so if Mothman is real and if it's a herald of disasters, it would not surprise me if he was seen around the Long Island incident, all that stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it.
But you don't hear of people saying that.
Right.
You hear of people saying 9/11, the I-34 West Bridge collapse, which is the Silverbridge, and then Chernobyl.
Yeah.
I did hear one more of that. This is actually out of country. The swine flu outbreak in Mexico.
When was this?
Residents of La Junta in the Mexico state of Chihoy or something.
I think
like
it's
that.
probably pronounced like Tahiti.
Probably
Tahiti. Anyone that knows, again, we love to learn.
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Yes.
But anyways, on April 10th, 2009, the residents noticed a strange creature in the mist. It was very tall and hairy with 2 expansive wings, wide bloodshot eyes. One younger student even reported that the creature chased him relentlessly. Those were 15 minutes of maximum despair, that a student said.
That would
He chose to remain anonymous during the interview.
That would be utterly terrifying on foot.
Oh, heck yeah.
Just a Mothman just
Now,
bolting,
they do
chasing
have
you.
another creature down there that's a chupacabra that like has been described like that
Yes.
too.
Yeah,
Like,
wing creature,
wing
stuff
creature,
like that.
large
Yeah.
eyes. So it's like they got a lot of terrifying critters we gotta cover.
Oh yeah. Sometime we'll go back down there or go down there.
Now,
We haven't been down there yet.
Yeah, I just corrected myself.
Now, I believe, and Boom, you might know this better than me or Wolf. The Mothman was originally, wasn't he encountered in 1966?
Yeah. Yep. So basically, that was the first sighting in West Virginia. It was near the TNT plant,
Yep.
Okay.
which we've already gone over a little
That's
bit.
where I believe, like at the beginning of the episode,
Yep.
the stories we read out. Mm-hmm. That's the time it was at.
Yeah, those excerpts from the start. were-
Right.
Hopefully, you guys like those.
The Scarberries and Mellettes wrote a police report. Basically, they were doing a double date drive around the TNT area.
Yep.
And what ended up happening is they ended up coming up upon this large creature with big wings, getting chased by it multiple times. For it would fly. They first initiated seeing it by driving up on it, having the light shine on it, and it just flew straight up.
It just took off in the air like, nope.
Yep. And then it chased them down the road a while.
Down to a farm, I believe.
I think with that too, wasn't it like they reported that they on like a straightway that they hit almost.
They were hitting over 100 miles an hour.
105 at
And it was
tops.
easily keeping up with it.
Yeah.
And then they reported this to a couple cops, and they even went back there once more and saw it one more time. But then after that, they went back there a couple more times and never saw it again.
And I think with that too, it's like after that report, that was Point Pleasant, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was
I
the TNT area.
believe like the town just kind of went a little crazy, but like they had search parties out there
Yeah,
and stuff.
yes.
I had heard.
If I remember right, they weren't the only ones that saw it in that time frame of like a couple days, and it like
lot.
actually sprouted a whole like hunt for the Mothman.
Yes.
Yeah, because
That's where the name was actually born.
one of the things too that I think is really interesting in this, and a few cryptids have done this, such as like Bigfoot, Jersey Devil, is it went like a wildfire across the tabloids.
It did.
Soldiers were seeing it pop up in the papers like, what?
Yep.
It hit most newspapers. There's actually somewhere out there I had found it, and then it just disappeared into the mists of the internet, like Mothman himself. Mm-hmm. A full like archive page of news articles and excerpts and stuff.
Yeah.
If anyone can find that, or if I can find the link, I'll post it on our Twitter account. But it's really interesting. Like,
Cool.
there's just so many reports and stuff.
Yeah.
And more than likely, a good chunk of them are bogus.
Bogus or just
That's just kind of the...
That comes with the territory.
Yeah.
But a good chunk of them are very... They read very legitimate. The reports feel sincere.
Right. And that's something I like about the Mothman myself, is not only did the whole town willfully like adopt it. So during, I forget what month it is, there's a Mothman Festival.
it started in 2002.
Yes.
Oh, right after the movie came out.
Yeah, I think the movie actually exploded the lore, not the lore, but the myth of the Mothman, not just around like Virginia, but
just
around
in
the
general.
world. Like it exploded it to around the world to bring it up so much where now there's this festival that happens every year. Mm-hmm. And it's so big that it brings in like $2 million for the town, which is like more than what they would make
In a year.
In a
and
year.
They got a snazzy
statue of them.
statue, too.
Yeah, they got a full metal, like, it's not bronze, it's like a stainless steel statue.
Yeah.
As well as, I think right next to it or by it, they have a whole Mothman museum dedicated to it.
That would be so much fun to go visit.
Also, a quick thing. On that museum's website, you can actually, and I just found this today, there's a live cam just pointed at that statue.
The Mothman cam.
The Mothman cam,
You're gonna
yeah.
have to
Or
check
the
that
Moth
out.
cam, yeah.
The Moth cam. It's a little interesting.
I guess one thing you guys have heard us mention it already is the Mothman, after the incidents and articles started coming out, it inspired I believe it was a novel or a documentary called The Mothman Prophecies. Which,
Yeah, that was the movie.
It was a book first.
Oh, yeah, it was the book first.
And then
That's right.
in 2002, it got adapted into a film, which I believe was a Sci-Fi Channel film, because I started to watch a long time ago as a kid a movie about the Mothman, and he like pops out of a mirror in one part. I'm like, nope.
I'll look it up for you.
It's like the guy sees him in like his car mirror or something. But yeah, the legends came before the stories, where a lot of times like legends will spawn off the stories. You know, like Dogman was one that some people had said that they had never heard of until the stories, you know.
I'm sorry, I started looking at the Mothman cam, and there's two women posing in front of their
You're probably the only one on that cam right
I
now.
am the only one watching this.
I was the only one on earlier.
All right, anyone that's listening to this, let's all go to the moth cam.
Oh, that was great. I know this isn't live, but that was just like the Mothman cam is, but of course people listening to this won't hear this. But it was
We
just,
could technically
Post the link for it.
we
do
could
that.
post the link, and we could actually technically like one day set a date
That we all go
and have
watch
like
the
a
Moth-
watch party on the Mothman cam.
we could do
That
that.
would be awesome. If anyone's up for it, tweet us, please.
Yeah,
Message us.
we could do
Anything.
that for like a
Carrier-
Q&A that we do.
Carrier
I would rather
pigeon.
just go down to West Virginia and
We go in front of the we invade the Mothman cam.
that'd be fun. But yeah, sorry, I got distracted by watching
The Mothman cam.
No, it's a very interesting creature. I don't see a whole lot. You know, a lot of the legends, there's a lot of just kind of hokey stories in it and stuff. There's not a lot of that. It's it's here. Suddenly something terrible has happened.
Yep.
And, you know, those incidents are backed up by the fact they're marked all through our history.
Right.
So it's like no one can be like, hey, that never happened.
right.
Actually, there was on Monster Quest.
Mm-hmm.
They were referencing some Native American, like big birds, or like
Oh, like the condor and stuff.
kind of not just like the condor, but like there was an
Oh,
island.
the sandhill cranes, I've heard that Mothman is supposed
No, like this was actually a Native American monster.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
lore. That's kind of similar. It wasn't the Thunderbird.
Okay.
It was something else in that region.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
I didn't look too much into it.
Yeah.
I had heard, and it was only I had read, not heard, in one article that had to do with Mothman, and it was the only one I ran across. They had just kind of vaguely mentioned how, like, a Native American, I believe, shaman
Yeah.
had, like, I don't know, I guess he supposedly had cursed the settlers of the town for something.
Really?
Like, they had made him mad.
Yeah.
And it was something about along the lines that a disaster would strike.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only thing I've
And they're
ever...
referring to the Silverbridge collapsing being that disaster.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I only read that in one place. And
Really?
there really wasn't a whole lot of details. There was a name of the shaman, but I don't remember it. I have bad memory.
I do too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool. I think I heard something along that lines a long time ago. So
I looked up the Mothman Prophecies, and I'm not seeing anywhere where it was released on Sci-Fi Channel.
It might have just been a movie that they played on there.
It
Because Sci-Fi
probably
Channel
was.
used to play... Pardon me, some people will probably want to like kill me for this, but they used to play some halfway decent movies.
I watched some good sci-fi movies.
I did too.
The one sci-fi movie I watched was one of the spider ones, where the spiders like invade the town or the tunnels underneath the town.
Arachnophobia.
Tarantula.
I think it was Arachnophobia.
No, it's not arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is
It was, like,
similar
number
to
2.
that. Yeah.
Was
oh,
the
it might. Yeah, it is arachnophobia too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember watching Tremors on Sci-Fi Channel.
I want
It
to
made
watch
me
that.
terrified of worms for a long time.
I watched Riddick.
Yeah, that used to be on
I was surprised Riddick was on there, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but anyways, the Prophecies was just box office.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. So what do you guys think, Mothman? Cryptid monster, alien, spirit, demon?
I think, actually, isn't this about break time?
Yes, it is. My new setup does not have the recording time in front of me, so
I can see it
you
right
can
from
see
where
it.
I'm at.
So, yeah, I guess we'll take a quick break and then we'll go into more of our own personal thoughts. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
all right, we'll see you all on the other side. Bye.
Bye. And we're back.
Welcome to NPR.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to fall asleep.
Fun fact, there's a drunk guy singing down the street from Boom's house.
Singing Piano Man, because I live next to a bar. Yay.
The only problem is it's 10:30 and not 9, and it's on a Saturday, which just makes me slightly sad.
He's drunk enough not to notice.
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to run down and join him in karaoke.
Oh, I did too. I love that
I mean,
song.
it's kind of cool living like next to a bar, because if you want just bar food, you can just walk over there.
I would be broke and dying of artery clogging. I love bar food.
There's been so many nights where I've been tempted, like, I don't want to cook dinner. Can I just go to the bar?
like a burger.
The answer is yes.
I
You
don't
could.
know about folks that have bars in other states or pubs or taverns, all that stuff, but Michigan's bars have some great food.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're ever up here visiting, I strongly suggest some of them for like burgers and stuff. Like it's so good.
Yep.
This is a food podcast now. Heck yeah, let's go.
Back to the Mothman. What do we think it is?
Yeah, what do you guys think it is?
A Mothman.
Okay, next.
It's just to Wolf. It's just a moth.
It is a Mothman. Duh.
Now, do you live to your name and do like my dogs do when they see a moth and just meow, meow, meow? I know you. Okay, last recording session, I actually have a story about Wolf.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call this thing a Mothman. There's a moth.
First things first. It was okay afterwards.
There was a moth buzzing Wolf. I don't know what went through his head, but he like slugged it in the face. It dropped to the ground. We thought he killed it. There was an awkward long pause, and then it just gets up and rushes him.
Yeah, it was late at night, and I was just walking around the garage. There's just these fluorescent lights. And I come up underneath one. There's just this moth right in front of me, just basically staring at me. So I just get in that boxing pose, and I just jab. Smack dab right in the middle. It falls down, and I'm like, oh. And then it gets right back up, and I'm like, oh.
I just when that thing flew over, that just heard ding ding round 2.
The moth was okay.
I'm just hearing the Eye of the Tiger song playing for the moth. I don't, what is it? I don't kneel for no man. What's that Rocky quote or something?
I just feel like that moth gets an Adrian.
The moth was okay, though.
Yeah, it was. It flew off after that, which was nuts.
See, I barely touch a moth and I kill the poor thing.
He gives it his all, and it comes back for more. Maybe you're just getting the wrong ones.
It wasn't a light punch either.
But
Oh, I'm so bad.
so to the actual topic and not how horrible Wolf is.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Wolf, Moth Slayer.
Don't ever go to West Virginia.
Just Mothman shows up with boxes.
We're going to have a news article the next week after that. Man boxes Mothman.
No, so just see like how like the UFC fighters, Mothman challenges Wolf.
We'll log on to the Moth Cam and he'll just be boxing Mothman in front of the statue.
Oh, I blew so bad. I can't fly.
We'll just see Wolf get picked up by the Mothman.
I'm just picturing like a Mortal Kombat fighting game, just swatching out of this camp, and all of a sudden Mothman just picks me up into the air.
Anyways, I have an interesting theory about the Mothman.
Okay.
I think it is a time traveler.
Of course you do.
So hear me out. in the future, we create the ability for people to travel out into the past, right? And this isn't my own theory. I've heard this from other people as well, other podcasts that I've listened to, but it makes sense in my head. In the future, we create time travel, and we basically entertainment business arise it, or whatever that be called, to the point where people can pay to be able to basically step back in time at some of the disaster moments of history, or any moment they want, like basically a noted point in history.
Little Timmy needs a thing for his history test.
Yeah, and just watch it.
Yeah.
Some people say that some theory is that the Mothman is just a time traveler in a suit, which is why it can fly, and why it can also move at unnormally fast speeds.
Okay. Hey, wow. I mean, we just found out black holes have a back end, so...
That's true, but the whole thing with the time traveling thing is, why risk it?
Well, here's the thing. Some people are saying they're not even in the same reality. It's more like a ghost.
Yeah, I've heard that theory for, like, shadow people as well.
So they're just, like, looking into our time, like, through a window, and we're just seeing, like, basically the image of them.
Yeah.
So, like, that would make sense why you would see Mothman in the rubble of 9/11.
Meh. Yeah, because people just going through checking things out.
Yeah.
I mean...
I don't know. There's a lot of things that you could poke through that theory.
Yeah, there's also a lot of things you can poke through a theory of just Mothman.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever seen a giant man-made moth?
I've seen a statue.
Not man-made. I meant man-like.
I've seen Mothra. Yeah. I have seen a man punch a moth into oblivion only for it to rise from the flames.
Like a phoenix.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that thing also, like, inject itself with steroids.
Right. But, I mean, it's similar to the theory that the dog man isn't of this, like, dimension either.
And I have heard that theory for, like, shadow people as well, because so many times shadow people have been seen around disastrous events and stuff.
I like that theory more for shadow people, because it's all over the world at all times.
I mean, who's to say this wouldn't be, like, better technology from further up the line or something?
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you have time traveling at one point, unless it's utterly obliterated at another point, you would still have it, and it would be getting better and better as time went on.
I guess
You'd be getting different equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't really like the theory of, like, with a lot of different, like, cryptids or monsters being like, oh, instead of it being something natural, let's just say it's a time traveler, it's from a different dimension.
Right.
It's a fairly newer theory I've been seeing pop up in more stuff.
It seems like more like people are trying to inject the science fiction aspect into it instead of maybe, like, trying to explain it more physical.
Right, but I mean, I get it being a theory. I would not toss it off the table.
No, I'm not.
Because really with stuff like this, you have to just have a wide range of stuff. I mean... It could just be, if it's weird, you have to think of it this way. It's like, could be just a freak creature because of, like, the site that it was from.
Yep.
It could be an extraterrestrial life form, which, I mean, who knows? It could be a spirit of some kind, which, you know, like, all through history.
That's actually one that that's actually one I probably think more of.
It could just be a jacked up bug.
Yeah.
Or a bird.
I've heard theories that it was a super soldier program gone wrong to basically give soldiers flight. So basically it's a creature, man-made thing of just experiments.
A bioengineered person.
I mean, we did, during World War II, experiment on rigging bats up with fire bombs.
That dentist needed some help.
We did some crazy stuff in World War II.
The craziest The craziest thing about that bats thing was it came up by a dentist.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to throw the time traveler thing out the window because I think personally it would be awesome if at some point in the future we break that mathematical thing of how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
Well, like, in my head, I think it'd be cool to go back to, like, Pompeii.
Yeah, don't interact with anybody. Know the actual history. Know the truth. And it's like, really, if we ever get the technology for it, I can really see a need and a want for it with how much history is diluted and changed over time.
Well, and here's the thing. There's always a saying that if you do not understand history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's a really interesting theory, and I've never heard it for Mothman, but that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know a lot of people believe it is a unknown cryptid or a mutation, as you said, like a super soldier thing, or just a product of generations around
Nuclear.
Toxic nuclear place, which maybe not for making new creatures. Like, it's unfortunately not like a Marvel comic book.
Yeah,
but like
unfortunately.
Chernobyl, for instance, the animals there that have been like generations around radiation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, there's a good majority that are born with mutations and, fatal mutations and stuff, deformities. A lot of their animals are actually like super variants of natural animals. Like
the
jacked.
wolves around Chernobyl are said to be 3 times the size of the average wolf.
They have dire wolves there now.
Yeah, they have dire wolves
basically,
there now.
yeah.
Radiation basically brought back the dire wolf.
Catfish that live in the waterways, catfish don't really stop growing, but it's like it helped accelerate their growth a little bit. The birds are healthier than a lot of other birds, in other places.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I mean, it might sound weird, but I guess the owl plausibility. I mean, what if you have an owl that's like a prime environment with something like that, and it grew to an unnaturally large size?
You're saying the Mothman is just a jacked owl.
That would be scary, actually.
That would be scary.
That is actually a good question.
That would be very terrifying. And owls are already huge. Have either of you ever seen a gray horned owl sitting up in a tree?
Yeah.
Because I've shined one of those in the middle of the night, and they let you know they are there.
That's actually one of the theories that the Mothman was a barn, or is it barred owl?
A barred owl, yeah.
Barred owl. I always thought it was barn owl.
It's because they're in barns.
I'm guessing the barred owl is like darker colored.
I believe so.
It's darker.
They're not terribly
They're
big.
kind of like flaky color.
Yeah.
They're your cliche owl.
They're supposed to be fairly big, actually, the barred owl.
Okay.
Down there. And that's what people think the Mothman was a barred owl.
Okay.
Or
but why would
owls.
it be able to keep up with a car going at 100 miles an hour?
Maybe just adrenaline. They were thinking that they were seeing it when not.
That could be.
Or maybe, I don't know, anything could have happened.
Yeah, I've heard people say that it's like, oh, it's just a sandhill crane.
Sandhill crane.
I kind of discredit that on a personal note because I drive past a group of sandhill cranes that take their time walking across the road.
I recently hit a sandhill crane.
Oof.
Yeah, it was flying over the road, and all of a sudden it just plopped in front of my car. Like, it just owned the road, and then it realized I was driving on the road. It tried taking off, and I couldn't move in time, and it couldn't fly in time. It does not take off from a standing position very fast.
Yeah, no.
Which actually would probably discredit, because a lot of people say the Mothman just
zooms up in the air.
Right,
Yeah.
it takes off straight up in the air. Also, just the fact sandhill cranes are tan, not dark and shadowy.
One of the big reasons they say sandhill crane is because the big red spots on the eyes.
Yeah, true, but I mean, I don't know.
That's one of the only reasons.
I don't see it. I would probably, I don't know, with the way it acts, would almost lean towards like a spirit or like something like a demon. I guess on the aspect of more demon, if it's trying to sabotage stuff, like a malicious entity. Spirit more on the fact of spirits tend to linger around places of tragedy and stuff.
That's if it's not more of a natural creature, that's where I would go to next.
What if it's just a different dimension?
That's what I was gonna say.
Like it's literally just there's a dimension with creatures
a rip in
Mothman.
reality.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with that, it could be just like another type of shadow person.
Right. A lot of people say that major disasters happen where reality's like thin and waver.
Yeah, true. So that could be too. I mean, that would make sense because it's not like Mothman. Well, okay, there are the reports of like pursuits and stuff.
Yeah,
but outside of a couple of those, there's no like attacks. There's no injuries or anything like that. So yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, I'd go to that too.
Yeah.
I like to think that the Mothman, in my personal opinion, is probably maybe like a guardian being of sorts, maybe like the Thunderbird,
And just
where
trying
it
to
tries to
warn people.
warn people of like disasters happening, and of course us being stupid humans just don't give a crap.
What's it doing? I don't know. Scatter.
Or like the New Jersey Devil, hey, there's something flying in the air, I'm gonna shoot it with a cannon.
Yeah. You know, I got thinking of it too, and it's like that makes sense as like a guardian and something that's basically meant to draw your attention. Like people look at the red eyes and stuff and think evil.
Yeah.
But in reality, when something is supposed to grab your attention, what if it is supposed to be so disturbing or shocking?
Yeah.
To get you to pay attention, so
Well, it's like our stop signs are red.
Yeah, our stop signs are red. Police lights have red to
Yeah.
let you know move.
Alert! Hey, something's happening.
Fire truck. are
Animal
red.
eyes that glow. The ones that are like the more vicious.
Yep.
What color are they? Because I always forget.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow and brownish colors
Brown.
often.
Red is more like cat's eyes are red.
Yep.
Oftentimes.
No, they usually glow green or yellow.
You can't tell me that I've seen my cat's eyes in the middle
Okay,
of the
they
night.
do have that weird tint that happens once in a while. I don't know. All my cats are like, I have flashlights that shine green in the night.
A lot of animals that have red eyes are just peaceful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like deer and stuff. Like, it's weird. 'cause-
Deer do not look peaceful in the dark.
No, they don't. But
They look like they want to consume your soul.
But like deer, depending on where you shine them, you either get white eyes or you get the kind of reddish hue.
Right, yeah.
Well, let's see. You look like you have another theory.
I'm
there,
just
Wolf.
staring at the big Mothman picture from the Wikipedia.
I think we need to
I'm
clip it
just
out and put it
thinking.
on Boom's wall.
Yeah.
Sure, if you can blow it up to a poster, I got
Inten-
plenty of space. So.
Intently staring at the picture they have.
And
And I know it's just it.
now, the thing that does kind of blow a hole through the tragedy thing is the fact of it has been in Chicago
Yeah.
a lot.
But here's the thing. What you might... Some people disagree, but reports say that Chicago has the highest rate of shootings.
True. So
And just average crime.
it could be
Yeah.
a site of contingency of tensions and
Hey, calm your horses and stop killing each other.
yeah.
Hey, just saying. Chicago is, as far as I know, one of the worst cities for crime.
Yeah. So I mean that could be.
Yeah.
It would be. I did not see anything. It would be interesting to see, like on global scale, if there's any sightings before all of this.
I
current
looked
stuff.
into it a little bit and I didn't find much. Like, of course, there's the Mexico sighting, and then there's the debunked Chernobyl sighting. But all right, so I think that's about it for our theorizing.
Yeah.
You guys got any final words about the Mothman?
I want to go to Point Pleasant and go to the festival.
Oh heck yeah!
I do want to say that the artist's impression of the Mothman on the Wikipedia by Tim Bertlink is great.
You like it?
I've been staring at it for the past 5 minutes, and it's just...
It catches your attention.
It does, and it's
To
just...
me, it looks like it belongs on the Magic the Gathering card.
It does.
Well, that would be cool.
Right?
It's just mesmerizing. Like, it gives off the intent of, like... I don't know. It's not
just
threatening.
It's menacing.
It's not menacing.
No, it's just piercing.
It's like it's looking in your soul trying to tell you something. And that's just what I'm getting out of it, staring at its big eyes.
Well, you know, with the depictions, I think I'm going to go more the route of something along the same family as the Shadow People.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because as we've said in the podcast we covered Shadow People, there were several variants of them,
Right.
and some were very inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
So this just could be another one.
That's the route I'm going.
But
Either
this-
like a extra dimensional or just like a ghost type character.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more spiritual than like just natural.
Yeah.
And I mean, think about it. A munitions plant also too, what would that be? That would be a tool of a lot of tragedy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
If not, some accidents happen there.
right.
Yeah.
Or the people who were driving around, they could have happened upon I don't know, some loose explosives that people forgot long ago or something.
Yeah, maybe it was protecting them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Heck, they could be driving into a pit for all they knew.
Yeah.
They did say they went right up over like a little dip in the road.
Yeah.
You know, as I'm thinking about it, this might sound weird, but just throwing that aspect into it, I'm coming to realize a lot of like these old legends and stuff that were meant to seem menacing, when you start looking at them at that other side, it's actually kind of cool to think that there might be things there to protect.
Like the trucker lore of the black dog.
Yeah.
Where it's like it shows itself when you're falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, to
wake
shock
you up.
you
Like,
awake.
go park and sleep, please.
Or like the Thunderbird was a entity of
Guardian of the skies and the waters.
Protecting people from the underworld.
I don't know. I really like that as I'm thinking about it. It's like that there might actually be things out there that are not here to harm us, because, I mean, obviously with some of the abilities that have been described of them, they could probably wipe us out easily.
Yeah,
Right.
if it would, and this is like with a lot of different like cryptids and monsters, if they were actually out for harm, it would have been way worse than what things actually happen.
Yeah.
A lot of times, say like with the Michigan dog man, the harm that was had was from like antagonizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of like a dog would be. They
Yeah.
usually leave you alone until
Right,
you antagonize them.
And
The dog man I categorize more as like a wild animal.
yeah, that's more natural, I would say.
But no, I just something that popped in my head. I thought it was kind of cool, and it just, I guess, makes the world hopefully feel a little bit better.
Makes
The way I think of it
definitely-
is we've been trained as a world, as a people, to see things as terrifying and see things as just immediately bad.
Right, rather than charge at it with curiosity.
If not, it doesn't exist. Like, that's just someone made that up.
Right.
Yeah.
Either it's there to kill you, either it's there for it to be absolutely good, or it's something that's just a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's like there's no
Middle
There's
ground.
a lot of bad, or like it portrayed as evil and stuff, but not a whole lot of good.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's more a society nowadays thing, because we are taught to fear everything.
Right.
And a lot of times people are just more attracted to the thrill.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Even if the Mothman didn't want to hurt me, he's still kind of creepy.
Right? No, he definitely is.
I kind of want to give him a hug.
I wouldn't want to hang out with him.
I think you need to stop looking at that photo, bud.
It just looks so fluffy.
Next thing we know, Wolf's gonna get like a superhero costume. Comic-Con, you should go as Mothman.
I'd almost do
That would be a really hot and uncomfortable.
No, you'd get some, like, I would full suit, put some fans in it and everything.
Or you could just wear black clothes and we could just like make it fuzzy looking.
That'd be hot.
And then just face paint.
That'd be hot.
I'd do like a tracksuit.
I'd do full, like, suit so I could actually have the size.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, I think we've covered just about everything.
I think so.
Yeah.
As always, if you guys have anything more to tell us about Mothman, just drop us a message.
If we missed any of the legend, let us know.
Or if any of you might have had a personal encounter.
Yeah, definitely. We're always up for that. We love learning about just people's experiences with, like, even if you just found some cool article on the internet. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest ones that was kind of inspiring was like Dartmoor, and the guy sent us a thing telling us about his bar.
Yeah,
that
that was
awesome.
amazing. I want to go visit his bar when we
I want to go
down
visit
there.
Dartmoor and just general, just hike it.
Maybe we can invite Mothman.
Anyways, with all of that, you can definitely send that over to us on Twitter at BehindYouPod. There you can also follow us and keep up to date with anything podcast related that we do.
Yay.
As well as we will be on YouTube very soon.
YouTube stardom, here I come.
We will have our Untitled podcast on there, as well as we'll have our Look Behind You podcast.
We need a title for the Untitled podcast.
We do. So anybody that's listened to that or even just wants to name a podcast, go ahead and do it.
Go crazy, but not too crazy.
Have
because
fun.
YouTube algorithms.
Be nice.
Be nice, please.
And then, like always, we appreciate you listening. And the biggest thing that you could do that would help us out is just tell other people about our podcast. As well as if you feel really, really wanting to help us, you can give us a review on iTunes. And there, it will just help us
in general
grow with the channel, or not the channel, but the page on iTunes, and they'll let iTunes know, hey, these people aren't just a bunch of losers that talk to the mic, which we may or may not be, but still, we could trick iTunes.
We've upgraded from a garage, so we're going somewhere.
What do we upgrade from an apartment?
A house.
The world, though.
I feel like what's gonna happen is after me and my girlfriend get married, you just gonna like turn our basement into a studio.
Depends how big of a basement you got. I
And
kind
how
of like
nice
my
of a
apartment,
basement.
so.
I don't know. She's pretty adamant that there's gonna be a D&D room,
Oh, that'd be sweet.
so there's probably gonna be a studio.
It's going to be a big yard to mow.
Yeah.
Right. Anyways, we appreciate you listening. And yeah, I have been Sir Boom. You can find me on Twitter at SirBoom9. There you can follow me, and I post updates about all the podcasts I do, as well as just little other things I do. You can also find me on a different podcast called Baka Talk. There we talk about anime stuff, like news-related anime stuff. We talk about manga, anime, just random stuff that we find on the internet, even, that we like to talk about. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Ramen Cat, where they can find... Blah. Where can they find you?
Well, they can't find me on Blah.
You want to bet?
You can find me on Twitter at RamenCat13. I haven't been super active lately because I've been super, super busy with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I post a lot of either D&D related stuff and memes, things like that.
Right.
The rarity that I get to draw, maybe I'll start posting stuff on there.
If we can ever convince you to.
Well, no, we can. I just haven't had time.
Oh, okay.
Outside of that, I mean, if anyone ever just wants to talk to me, just private message me.
There you go.
More than happy to talk.
We love talking, especially seeing I'm lonely all in my apartment now.
He has time now.
Somehow. How about you, Wolf? Anywhere they can find you?
Just on the Look Behind You podcast.
All right,
Twitter.
There we go. All right, well, this has been the Look Behind You podcast. All three of us appreciate you listening.
Yes.
And like always, look behind you because you never know if you see a Mothman or not. See ya.
See ya.
Good night.